welcome to another session of Gary in Lockdown, dear LinkedIn people. Emma has had some fun with my background here. I was looking there. It's actually, obviously, it's not real. So forgive this. I don't know how to turn it off. I need a techie to do that. Today's session is with a good friend of the RDLC. He's been there for many people. He's done lots of amazing work for a lot of people. Everybody knows Paul McGregor for the work that you've done with mental health and mental well-being. But there's a backstory about being a social coach. Welcome, Paul. Say hi.
Good to be here, Gary, as always. I wish I had a background like you. You know, it looks like I've been kidnapped, but.
Well, no, but you've got a house with big space. I've got a building site with Polish people. I'm learning new swear words every day. So it would be really nice to explain a little bit about the stuff that you did in the fashion the fashion industry, and what you nice, brilliant. And why I've asked you to talk about social media as opposed to any and everybody else I could have come to.
Yeah, let's do it. So, my backstory was, the first business I started was a fashion business, an online fashion business. And 19, I looked a little bit younger, less bags under my eyes, started an online fashion business selling watches, ties, hats, scarves. Made a huge amount of mistakes, but what I learned during that time was how to market online. So this is before the days of Instagram, but really was early with that. And started lecturing on social media, doing a lot of consultancy. Had the fortune of one of my clients was Tommy Hilfiger's wife, her brand. So I met Tommy a couple of times. Really decent guy, really nice guy. And I've worked for lots of different fashion brands, consulting them with their digital marketing strategies. So obviously now with the mental health work that I do, a lot of the exposure that the app has got, a lot of the awareness work that I do, a lot of that is owed to the social media background and experience I've also got. So I think you wanted me to share some of my top tips, right?
Well, I'd love top tips, do's and don'ts about social media, stuff I do wrong. And in return, an unashamedable plug about the app and the fact that you're talking to people about mental health, mental well-being, because it's a big topic right now, and I know I'm going mental. I'll be really honest with you. I broke down this morning. The builders were so loud. My wife was upset and stressed. I was upset and stressed about it. And she just looked at me and she started crying and I started crying. And it's just really hard living in these times, especially if you're a bit confined and you got, 1,000 Polish people around you. So the work you're doing there, I will support you till my dying day because I think it's brilliant. But in return, give me something. So for recruitment business leaders who are out there who are trying to do some stuff right now, what might be your best bits of advice? I know you're on the clock as well, so we've only got 20 minutes. So let's go at it. 3, 2, 1, go.
The first one is a good point, right? Which is what we're doing here. Give value before you ask for the sell. So social media, lots of businesses and especially brands are focused too much on selling on social media, where with social media, what we really need to do is use it as a way of giving value to our potential audience. So then when we do ask for business, when we do ask for a sale, whatever it is, a call to action, we've given enough value up front. Like the law of reciprocation kicks in, right? So what I'm doing is sharing my top social media tips. And then at the end, I'm going to do a cheeky plug. But by hopefully that time, I've given you enough value that you're more likely to do it. So give you some context. When I first started sharing mental health content online, there was no call to actions. I wasn't monetizing it. I wasn't at the end of it saying, download my course or buy this. It was purely just giving value. And how we met was through that, right? You saw my video pop up, I think it was on LinkedIn, connected with you. You then asked me to do a talk, and opportunities have arisen from me giving value via social media, right? So I think that tip is really the content that you share and how you use social media. Don't always use it to sell. Use it to build audience, use it to build potential leads, use it to build brand awareness, and selling will come later on, right?
Brilliant.
You agree with that?
Well, if this is not what I'm doing right now, and exactly, I'm giving back to people so that they kind of love me. Yeah, 100%. Totally agree.
Exactly. And with that, the next tip is really focus on engagement. So engagement is key, and every platform has an algorithm, right? Instagram algorithm, everyone complains about it. The LinkedIn algorithm, how do we get more people to see our posts? Every platform has an algorithm, but there's so many different sort of, features of the algorithm, but a key one is engagement. So if my post on LinkedIn is getting more likes, more comments, more engagement, typically LinkedIn's going to boost that to more people, right? So again, this is where it comes to value. Asking questions, getting people to engage in the posts is a really key way of kind of building up more sort of exposure on your posts as well. Which again, if we're just constantly selling, we're going to lose that engagement. We're going to lose the reach. We're going to lose people seeing our business, our brand. So always focus on engagement of your posts. The next tip, this is tip number 3 already. Look, we're plowing through this, GG. It's like a YouTube video. You'll like this one, I think. Utilize platforms with more exposure currently, right? So when we look at social media platforms, we talk about organic reach. Organic reach is I can put a post out today, and without me paying for ads, without me, utilizing loads of strategies, I can organically reach a lot of people. So LinkedIn has quite a good organic reach, right? Which means I could put something out today, have 100 followers, and 100,000 people could see it. We've seen this a lot during this period where someone's maybe shared a post of them taking a job in Tesco's, and they've now got like millions of likes to their post. So the organic reach on LinkedIn is high. So that's naturally going to change in the next year, 2 years, as LinkedIn starts to plow more money into ads. The organic reach is going to drop. So Instagram, the organic reach is low. Facebook, the organic reach is low. So what we need to do is hit these platforms while they're hot. So LinkedIn is a really good one. The second one is TikTok, right? Are you on TikTok, GG?
No, because I just don't see myself as a TikTok value customer. I shave. Why would I be on TikTok? I don't play football.
This is the misconception, right? Because who was Facebook's audience before everyone got on Facebook? It was university students, yeah. And then very quickly, parents, elderly people start joining Facebook, and Facebook becomes more mature. Then all of the younger demographic moved to this new platform called Instagram, because now it's cool. Like their parents aren't on it, but now every parent, older generations on Instagram. TikTok, what we saw is obviously the generation on TikTok was very young. It's dramatically increasing. 40 plus, are on it. More and more people are using it. I think TikTok during lockdown period has done extremely well for business. More and more people are downloading it. So the audience is becoming more mature.
Right. I still struggle to see how things like Insta, do you hear that? Insta and TikTok can make money for a recruitment business. Because
you still have to think of who are you trying to sell to? Like who is the demographic of the person you're trying to sell to? And there's no way that you can say these people aren't on Instagram. These people aren't on TikTok. Like they are. These people aren't on Facebook. Now the problem is,
but I'm sorry, mate, but if we're not connected, how will they find me?
Hashtags, organic reach.
Right.
Make sense?
Okay, but no, I think you need to teach that, because there's a whole demographic that you assume that we know that, right? Can you explain that piece? Because
exactly. So just to give you some context, if you sign up on TikTok right now, GG, and you did 10 videos about recruitment businesses, and you use hashtags like hashtag recruitment business, hashtag recruitment, you might not get a lot of exposure, but slowly you will start to. And what happens is when more people move onto the platform and they're looking for those topics and you keep popping up, you're going to obviously get more awareness to it. So there's definitely a potential audience on there for businesses in the recruitment space. And even if there isn't now, the question you have to ask is there going to be in a year's time, 2 years' time? And if the answer is yes, potentially, and you start now, you've got that year ahead of everyone else. Does that make sense? So you've got that year ahead of building up that audience.
So don't expect an instant return.
Exactly.
You're building now to get a head start once the momentum is into that space.
Exactly. So if I show you quickly, all I'm doing, you'll love this. You'll love this, Gigi. You like my videos to camera. I do quick little videos on TikTok about mental health awareness, sometimes mental health at work, right? And basically, followers don't really mean nothing, but 32,000 followers in the last 3 months. And if we look at the analytics just quickly, you'll see in the last 7 days, sort of 70,000 views to the videos, and getting some good numbers, 1,300 views to my profile, clicking on a link. I'm not monetizing that, right? I'm not monetizing that yet, Gigi. But what I'm going to do is continue to build that audience. So then when I want to launch a t-shirt, when I want to sell a book, when I want to do something, I'll then monetize it. Does that make sense? So it comes back to point number one, value. Give value. If people like it, they'll follow you and so on.
Okay. Yeah.
So TikTok, LinkedIn, those are the two that are really kind of got high exposure at the minute without you paying a lot of money for ads.
What's next?
In terms of what?
Is there anything that's around that hasn't landed that we wouldn't know? So what's the next TikTok?
I don't know if there is a next TikTok. I think
it's
hard.
Let's do it.
It's hard. Yeah, let's create it. It's hard to tell, right?
TikTok. Okay. Yeah.
Just quickly, a good way of finding out, and sometimes I do this, is head over to the App Store on your phone and look at the top apps. And TikTok's been like in the top 3 for the last 2 or 3 months. And that shows me that more and more people are downloading TikTok, using TikTok and sort of, moving over to that platform. But I don't know what's next. Maybe we'll create My Place. Do you remember MySpace?
Yeah. My Place.
MySpace. Do you remember MySpace? Was you on MySpace?
No.
Not down with the kids?
I'm not down with anyone these days. Everyone hates me. But we're always nice. But this, can I just say, this is absolute gold. The things that you're throwing away that you don't think are important, I know that my community, because we're slightly older as a demographic, we're running businesses. I don't think we got this yet. So the stuff that this is gold. Anyway, 4.
Share more. A basic one, but everyone is, especially on Instagram, they're very protective of their feed, how it looks, the images that you use, etc. There's a real argument between quality and quantity, right? I know you're an advocate of quantity. I know you push a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, right? How many times a day would you say you post?
Dean hates me doing it, by the way. Everybody in my background says, whoa, because you'll get better engagement if you do less. Actually, there's probably some gaps of 20 minutes here or there where something hasn't triggered me.
Have you seen in your experience that a post you share might not get a lot of engagement, then the next one you do would get more engagement and more than you normally?
And it's things that I don't expect to go bonkers. Explain.
Exactly. So when we're looking at quantity, everyone says don't share more because you're going to bombard people. But again, when we look at point number 1, which was about the algorithms, if you share 10 times in a day on LinkedIn, some people would question, 10 is too much. You're going to bombard everyone. Everyone's going to hate Gary. He's posting too much. I'm going to unfollow him. But the algorithms on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all of them, if you post 10 times, I'm not going to see all 10 posts. I might only see 1. I might only see 2. And typically they're the posts that I'm more likely to engage with or more people have engaged with. So the people that argue that you've got to focus on quality, you should only post once a week. By you posting 10 times a day, you're giving yourself, 70 chances of a post doing well. You getting more engagement, you getting more people to your profile. Because if you're only posting once a week, you've only got 1 chance of that happening. So we need to shift more to a quantity model, like posting more and realizing as well that quality is subjective, right? So the post that you don't think are doing well is because in your mind, you've said this is a low quality post, but the audience has said this is a really high quality post. I'm going to engage with this. So quality is subjective. And I think a lot of people don't post because they're like, this isn't good quality, but we're not the ones to decide. Like the audience is the one to decide, right?
Can I say, I lifted from the magazine a piece that Emma did about being a passive aggressive. And I just posted it, just thinking, good. Everything that Emma does gets a lot of views because everyone loves Emma in the RDLC. We're 3 days in. It's over 50,000 views. It's getting to 200 likes at the moment. It's absolutely flying. And I just think, well, part of me hates her, but it's brilliant. It's just brilliant how it works. And I just don't understand how these things work. And it's kind of confusing. But
yeah, exactly. But you've got to post more because you don't know what's going to do well and what's not.
Post more. I'm going to love you saying post more because everybody in my back team say post less.
Yeah,
isn't that weird?
It's because it's such an abnormal thing to do. Because if you think of marketing, traditional marketing, you're creating a campaign for a magazine that's going to be, you spend a huge amount of time on it. You do one campaign and see how it does. Whereas with social media, it's about I can post every hour and see what does well and see what doesn't. So just quickly for TikTok, TikTok's doing well for me. So I'm trying to move to 4 videos a day. It sounds like a lot, but if I can churn out 4 videos a day, I've got 4 chances of a video doing well and bringing more audience to the profile. So yeah, share more. And then the final one, tip 5 is, and I think you'll agree with this, is telling your story. So getting the story of the business across, getting the story of your employees. I know some of the guys in the RDLC do this quite well. Story of the employees. What does your business stand for? Story of the clients. Storytelling is the key to all good marketing, and use social media to tell that story, and also use different forms of media to tell that story. So one could be an image of Gary with a caption. I could then do a video of Gary. I could then do a quote that Gary said with a caption as well. There's so many ways. I could do an article of Gary's testimonial. There's so many ways of telling that story using different forms of media. So yeah, that's the last tip. I'll give you a bonus one actually, because I think this will help your network. Everyone should have a podcast, because a podcast is an easy way of giving value. But a key thing for a podcast is the network and the relationships that you'll build, right? So with Every Mind at Work, we've got a podcast, and a key part of the podcast is to invite HR business owners onto the podcast to talk about mental health, to share what they're doing. And that's a much softer approach than me just knocking on their door trying to sell to them. We're inviting them onto the podcast. We're building up that relationship. We're then showing them the app later on if they want to see it. So I think a podcast is a really good way of creating content, but at the same time, it's a really good way of building out that network. Does that make sense?
It totally does. But I was kind of sick of everyone doing podcasts, especially recruitment podcasts, with people who don't know recruitment and interviewing people who know less about it. And there was just so much of that stuff going on. But in lockdown, going for a walk has become a bit of a treat. And people are listening to stuff, right? So going for a walk and you're listening to a podcast. So I think it's giving podcasts another life. I've never been a big fan of them because I just don't get it. And it's just, sometimes to me, it's just noise. But I'm not a big fan of people reading loads and loads of business books because they all end up contradicting each other. And it just sends your mind a blast. But right here, right now, that's the best bit of advice. Do you want to talk about Every Mind at Work?
Yeah, so Every Mind at Work is a business a concept that I come up with about 2 years ago. Basically, I was doing a lot of talks in organizations about mental health, and it was hard to provide mental health support to all of the employees. So we've created an app that provides mental health support in your employees' pockets whenever they need it. It's 100% anonymous. It's easy for us to get your business on board, and we're offering a 6-month free period as well. There's no obligation at this current moment. So I'm sure Gary will link up to it. There's a lot of the RDLC already on it, a lot of recruitment businesses. I think value for you, Gary, as well, is what we're doing is we're looking at anonymous insights and analytics just in the recruitment industry at the moment. What's happening? What are people struggling with? And then we can obviously start feeding that back to the recruitment businesses as well. So yeah, that's the plug.
Brilliant. Right. Okay. Thank you, brother.
All right.
It's always lovely to see you. I love the fact that you're so busy. Can I just post? Right. I do art. It's what I do. Yeah, you've been a legend, buddy. And Every Mind at Work, we're a big fan. And also on behalf of the sector and the business sector, the stuff that you're doing is making a massive difference. And you're saving lives, and I appreciate everything you do. So love to you.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
See you on the other side.
All right, man. Bye.